back, everybody, and this is Charlie, and we're bringing you this week's top movie news. Alright, so we're going to be going over the top 10 news that we've got throughout the week. Comic news, movie news, TV news. Obviously we get a whole bunch of plethora of news. We're going to pick the top 10 from this week and kind of talk about it, kind of bring it to your attention, some things. Mainly want to hit on mainstream media, things that we're not really... it's just kind of out there, but like nobody's really spoken about it, and we're like, this we really need to talk to. Let's talk about this. Let's start with this weekend's top 5 box office hits. All right, guys. So at number 1, as you know, this weekend the Minions came out, Rise of Gru, and so far, it's only being Sunday, we're already at $108 billion. So, for being another Minions movie, I went to go see it with my son, and it was bearable if all you like to hear is all day. And, I couldn't, it's not as good as the first one, but it's for that age group, not my age group. But, if you're like me, you've seen one, you've seen them all, like, oh, I saw the first one, I gotta go see the second one, and so on and so on. And number Top Gun Maverick at $25 billion, and it is what it is. $25 billion, that's pretty good. Still, with 6 weeks being out in the box office, still pretty dominating everything because everybody loves Tom Cruise. At number 3, we got Elvis for second weekend out in the box office. We're at $19 billion. And I've heard a lot of good things about this. I've heard a lot of bad things about this. If you're a fan, you're a fan. If you're not. But I heard the movie's like really long. I still have yet to see it, but if you want to know about it, check out our review from Neezy. Number 4, Jurassic World Domination at $15 billion in the box office. Now it's been out for about 6 weeks. Not 6 weeks, about 4 weekends now. And well, I saw it and it was great, because it's new dinos. It's kind of continuing on the never-ending story of Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, and it hints to the first one, hints to the last one, hints to the most recent one before this. It kind of touches on all of them, and a lot of other critics were like, well, there's no plot to this. Yeah, you don't go for the damn plot, you go for the just dino action. I want to see a dinosaur eat every stupid mother out there, like every guy who thinks, oh, I'm gonna take out a dinosaur because I got a gun, and then yeah, you heard it, box office. At number 5, we got The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke, and I haven't seen this one, but I heard it's very good. If you're a parent, this is your biggest fear, and that's kind of what's holding me from seeing this, is like, the realization how easily, kids can be taken, or kids are taken from their families. But that the fact that it's a horror movie is even worse, because I don't do really too good in horror movies or in the dark at all. But we're at $12 billion in the box office for being out for about 2 weeks now. And so this one, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm hesitant to go see it, I'll be honest, but it is what it is. But these are the top 5 box office hit. Next week, of course, we'll have new numbers, new scores, new movies as every week. We got Thor coming out, so that might top everybody. So we'll see how that goes. It's a standalone, so we're not really dealing with the multiverse here. So we'll see how that goes into. All right, guys, and so at number 9, we got Kingsman 3 to start production soon. You heard that right. Let me rephrase that. Kingsman 3 starting production. Do we need another one? This one is going to be titled Blue Blood, and of course, it's co-written and directed by Matt Vaughn. He's coming back to do his plethora of movies. Did you know he wants to do 7 of these? 7 movies and a couple TV shows. Bro, what? No, stop. One was good. One was actually, I think the first one was the best one of the whole series. And then, like, when you get into Golden Circle and then The King's Man, it kind of just throws everything off, but it wasn't as good as the first one. This is kind of a franchise where I wish one and done. That's it. One and done. It should have just been here's a cool movie. That's it. We don't need 7. We don't need TV shows. We don't need the prequel. Like, oh my God, how much more do you want to do? Of course, you're going to have Taron Egerton coming in, Colin Firth. Because Colin Firth's the other guy. Colin Firth is coming back, but now he's taking over Merlin because you remember Mark Strong got, in the last one. But, so they're going back to the main line with Taron Egerton. It was held up by COVID and pushback and all that, and then we got The King's Man, and that one is just watch our review. At number 8, we got the Barbie movie, and if you remember hearing about this one with Margaret Robbie and Ryan Gosling. This one, I mean, we've seen this before. It's the same plot for all of these, toy live action movies where they get tired of the world and Ken wants more, and of course he's going to go to the real world with Barbie, and they're experiencing the real world for the first time, and the evil CEO of Mattel, which is played by Will Ferrell, is going to try to get them back into the world because obviously they notice something's missing. It's like oh, what is the movie? There was a movie where, the main character was missing, and they're like, wait, what's going on? Oh, Space Jam. It was like in Space Jam when, like, the character's missing, they're like, hey, what's going on? And everybody's like, hey, where's our lines? But we also saw this in a early 2000s Disney movie with Tyra Banks where she was, like, a model, and then, like, comes to the real world or whatever. I feel like it's all going to be the same, but, I mean, it is what it is. Number 7, if you have $5,000 to just spend like nothing, hit up Disney Wish cruise ship. They have a Star Wars incursion called the Hyperspace Lounge. Only 50 people max because COVID, and it's pretty hella expensive. They have a $5,000 cocktail. What? A $5,000 cocktail called the Kyber Crystal, ironically, is a Star Wars themed drink, and it's $5,000. Bro, what? And here in San Antonio, I know in one of the bars we have a shot that is $1,500, but even that is like outrageous. Like, how old was this whiskey aged? But $5,000, that is the ultimate Disney experience. Like, it's already expensive just to go to the parks itself, and stuff like that. But $5,000 just on a drink, like, that better be a tax write-off. Like, I better be able to write that on my taxes. Like, what'd you do this year? Well, I bought a drink for $5,000 because I can. At number 6, we got Blade production going to be delayed another 3 months, hopefully starting in fall 2022. So that's about October, November. If you remember, Blade originally played by Wesley Snipes in '98. It had a pretty good stint for the time it was. But now we turn to our new star, Oscar winner. I'm going to butcher this. I know this because I'm terrible with names. Oscar winner Mahershala Ali. Mouthful for me. So he's going to be our new Blade for the MCU. And, with COVID and everything else in production and, people in the crew getting COVID, it's been delayed after delayed after delayed. And then, it was supposed to pick up from the post-credit scenes. We got a little teaser from Eternals. But we're finally starting production, fingers crossed, in October 2022. So Blade's going to come out a little later than we really anticipated, which still goes off with the whole timeline of, MCU movies being off. So, it is what it is. At number 5, Taron Egerton, of course, from the Kingsman movies, recently just met with Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. He just came out and confirmed, yes, he did have a meeting with them. He is speculating and kind of teasing that his meeting could be for a casting for Wolverine. Now, as cool as that is, right, because he's the perfect height, I think it would be cool to see him as a Wolverine. Personally, I see him more as a Cyclops, but I know Taron Egerton's kind of hesitation is, would it be the right move for Wolverine? Not because, he doesn't feel he could play it. I'm sure he'd be a really great Wolverine, but because you've had 20 years of Hugh Jackman being the only Wolverine. Like, he's being very cautious, which is good of him to be very cautious for, he doesn't want to ruin that mantle. Like, it's like all the different Batmans we've had, all the different James Bonds we've had, a lot of them just kind of go in, shoot from the hip, and like, yeah, I'm the new Batman, what's going on? He's being respectful of the career of Wolverine, saying, okay, Hugh Jackman's played it for so long, I don't want to taint that, but at the same time, he's hopeful, which, if he does play Wolverine, I'm going to be excited for. Personally, again, I see him as a Cyclops. But we'll just have to wait and see. Kevin Feige, the man behind the hat, behind the camera, knows what he's doing. So, we'll just leave it at that. Number 4, Andrew Garfield signs on for a massive multi-movie deal with Marvel. So could we be getting him in the, speculated Secret Wars, or could we get an Amazing Spider-Man 3 if it's both? That's just, we're spoiled at this point, we've been spoiled just to get him in No Way Home. Like, we knew he was going to be there, but like to see it, I was like, oh my God. And, I legit cried. Number 3, Tim Allen finally sees Buzz Lightyear and gives his thoughts. And of course, when you're the original star, you're like, I did it better. you know, my movie's real good. You know, he's dogging on the new guy, Chris Evans, and I mean, rightly so. You know, his main concern was that there wasn't a really big connection to the toys, right? Because Toy Story is, you know, about the toys. There's no Buzz without Woody, he says. But I mean, after watching Buzz Lightyear, I can see, because in the beginning there was like well, if Andy had seen this movie, this is the movie he'd see, right? And there wasn't really a big connection to Toy Story. I mean, I agree there could have been more, but I think bringing an origin story of Buzz Lightyear was good. And especially throughout the movie, he says different quotes which turn out to be movie quotes from the toy. Like, you know how every toy you pull a string, fireworks. It's 4th of July, I forgot. And so, you know, you pull the string and, you know, it's got the movie quotes or whatever. But, you know, for me to see the quotes he had in this movie being stuff that Buzz had in his script for Toy Story, that technically makes it movie quotes. So that's kind of a connection. So, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. But Tim Allen's just butthurt because he wasn't part of the project. So, as in at number 2, Bond 26. So James Bond just concluded with No Time to Die, and it was amazing. I mean, very long of a movie. I think the longest Bond ever. But the conclusion, I was the only one at the theater crying my eyes out, because the way they end his story, like, he goes out like a hero, and I'm like, man, Bond is the kind of guy you always expect to get out in the end. And there's always been, you know, every movie, like, oh, he's gonna make it, he's gonna make it, he's gonna make it. And then when you realize, oh shit, he's not gonna make it, what are we dealing with? Like, the bad guy finally won. Like, ugh. But producer Barbara Broccoli, so she said that, you know, for the next Bond movie, they're gonna reinvent who he is. So to reinvent him, you know, they're going to make Bond more of a presence versus a person. And, you know, 70 years later, 6 Bonds later, I kind of see why she wants to do this, because they're being very careful with, you know, woke culture now. But that really kicks a boot in Ian Fleming's, you know, kind of career. Like, James Bond is James Bond. Like, that, you really can't mess with that too much. So I hope they don't destroy it too much of his legacy, you know. And I'm not talking about the actors, but I'm talking about, like, James Bond the character. You know, Ian Fleming created James Bond in 1953, and then with his first movie with Dr. No in 1962, of course, with the great Sean Connery. And so, you know, we've had a couple bad Bonds. Like, there was one Bond that only had 1 year, and nobody really remembers his name, but it was him, and then Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig. And so, you know, now it's like, okay, who's going to be the next Bond? Because, of course, at the end of the movie, it says James Bond will return. Who's going to be the next one? Could be a woman, could be, I know they speculated being an African-American actor, which, I mean, again, I'm fine with, but don't ruin Bond. Like, don't make him too woke. If you're going to change the skin color, that's fine. If you're going to change the gender, that's fine. But the Bond has this kind of, like, I'm Bond, you know? Don't mess with that. There's just little things you just don't touch. And of course, at number 1, some of the toughest news I've heard all week: Godzilla versus King Kong 2. Why? Godzilla vs. King Kong 2 is going to release March 15th, 2024, sequel to Godzilla vs. King Kong from 2021. Really, we're still rolling with the MonsterVerse? Like, didn't you see what happened to the Dark Universe when Tom Cruise destroyed the Mummy, you know, and what they wanted to do with their MonsterVerse? Like, now, oh, we're still going to use the name because we paid for it, but let's use King Kong versus Godzilla, because let's just waste money and milk it. You know, seriously, bro, like, it ended okay. I really wasn't a fan of the first one, but it was like, okay, cool. We see the matchup. What else do we need? It was like Kong clearly won that one, right? And so now what? Like, Godzilla's gonna show up with his homies, like, yo, what's up, bro? Let's do it again. You got a good one. Let's do it again. Like, come on, man, really? Alright, guys, so that's your top 10 news of the week, and we'll be back next week with more news. Give us your likes, give us your comments. Tell me what you think about this news, you know, that I just kind of threw together and revealed to you. If you have anything you want to bring up to us, message us on our Facebook page, Rejected Heroes Media. Find us on Instagram, Rejected Heroes Media as well. Comment on this, and let's chit chat. Let's talk. Yeah, guys, let's talk. And remember, this upcoming week we have Thor on the 5th. Our embargo lifts, so we can bring out the Thor review again because the powers that be from the House of Mouse told us to take it down. And so, yeah, I mean, we look forward to this week. New month, new movies, new stuff. We got Ms. Marvel episode 5, The Boys season finale this weekend, and of course Thor Love and Thunder. So like always, guys, like, share, subscribe.